Hey guys, and welcome again. It's your boy Mike here today, and I want to talk to you about something that happened to me recently, and it really made me think how I behave in certain situations and what really brings you benefit and what really brings you negative outcomes. So the story is that recently I had a conversation with my boss and he pointed out some things that he didn't like about my work. At the time I got really angry because I think that I do my job really well and I really put in the effort and I like doing my job, so it was really like a personal attack on me and my effort.
You're making me angry. Oh, am I?
So I really wanted to act on this impulse, however I did manage to kind of contain myself and take a step back, and I'll tell you what I learned, I'll tell you how this benefited me, and I'll tell you how many times I haven't done this that have led to negative outcomes. I'm sure that exactly like me, you have had situations like that caused you discomfort, that have made you feel bad about something that you're doing, and someone pointed that out. And it really didn't help. I know for me, I go into a very reactive mode, so I need to act, I need to take back control from a psychological standpoint, and instead of distancing myself, I'm prone to doing something stupid. So I really hope that in this video you're gonna find something very useful to you that you might be able to apply in your everyday life, because it doesn't matter whether that's for a job, it doesn't matter whether that's for social occasions. People get into arguments, people have disagreements, and I'll explain to you why having those disagreements is actually beneficial, and it helps you grow as a person, and it helps you expand on the good sides that you have and also improve the bad sides that you might not know they're there, but someone would have pointed them out to you. Okay, so let's start with my story. I normally don't take criticism well. When someone points out something negative about me or my work or my behavior, I don't normally tend to take it well. I take it very personally, and the initial kind of instance for me is to kind of reject this and be like, oh, you don't know anything, or that's completely untrue, you know, I'm being the victim here and everything.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
In more cases than not, they actually might have a point, and in this particular situation, when my boss explained to me why he wasn't happy with something that I was doing, that was exactly the case. I kind of jumped straight into conclusions saying like, oh, this is completely untrue, I shouldn't be doing this. Now, I didn't say that, but that's how I felt internally. So what I did is, I took a step back, and I'm able to take those steps back because of the previous experiences that I've had in terms of jobs, in terms of arguments with friends, or in terms of arguments with other people, that have led to really negative outcomes because I wasn't able to keep my cool. And I think keeping your cool, especially in today's environment, is so important, because in many cases we do jump to conclusions. In many cases that leads to something negative rather than something beneficial. So going back to the story with my boss, I took a step back, and I took the weekend to kind of relax and chill out a bit and think about what happened. So, I realized two things. That number one, I wasn't really taking his opinion into account, or I wasn't really listening to what he was trying to tell me. I was kind of assuming what he said and how it impacts me, which, okay, in that moment you're trying to make sense out of the situation, so it's normal. That's why it's bad to act right as this happens, because this is the time when you make the mistakes. If I had acted then, I would have made a mistake.
I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that.
I might have lost my job, or I might have worsened my relationship with him significantly. Now, our relationship is normally pretty good, so I think for myself it was really good that I managed to kind of withhold myself from doing something stupid or saying something stupid. And then after the weekend passed, we actually had a conversation, and he mentioned a few other things that really did make sense,
I'm calm!
When you're calm and when you expect a conversation like that, it's much easier to kind of understand where the other side is coming from and look into yourself and see maybe, okay, maybe I did something wrong, or maybe I didn't do something wrong, and you can have a productive conversation. Whereas when you're really fired up and when you're really angry, or when you're really kind of in a reactive state of mind, then you're not listening. It doesn't matter what the other party is gonna say, you're only focusing on the thing they said or the thing that frustrated you.
Do we have a problem?
Instead of looking at the bigger picture. Now imagine a painting, and normally our idea is to kind of look at the broader picture, look at the whole painting. Now when something catches our attention, in that instance something negative or some criticism that someone pointed out, then imagine you're going really close up in the picture. So you're losing the whole idea and the whole concept of it, but rather than just focusing on the small detail. So the times when I've acted rash have led me to lose a job in the past, or not taking into account or not understanding what the other party was saying to me has affected me in a negative way. If I was listening more 2-3 years ago, my life would have been maybe a little bit different. Now I can't say whether for good or for worse, but I would have learned those lessons a lot earlier. Hence why I'm doing this video, because I really hope that the lessons that I managed to take from my experience would benefit someone else. And don't get me wrong, hearing negative things about yourself can be painful and it can be very unpleasant. However, that's the time when you have the biggest opportunity to grow, because people around you, people that are enjoying your company, they're not going to point out those things. They're not going to point out flaws in your work or flaws in your character, because they like you. So essentially you're starting to live in your bubble, including the concept of Facebook and social media. You only surround yourself with people that you like and people that like you back. And normally you follow the same information sources, you have the same interest, etc, etc. So those negative interactions, when someone's confronting you, are actually beneficial for you, because they're breaking your bubble. So sometimes it can be some completely irrelevant topic that is just made to your address that you shouldn't take into account. But that's exactly why it's so important to have that self-awareness and to have looked into yourself and know your strong and weak sides, because that's when you can brush those off. Otherwise, you're going to start taking everything personally. So essentially, it really doesn't matter how you get into a conflict situation. What matters is how you handle that situation. And what also matters is what you get out of it, what you learn for yourself, and what you learn from the interaction. And don't get me wrong, by all means, if someone is being unreasonable or is being toxic, then you should definitely cut them out. But in many cases that's either not possible, or they might have a point, and you really need to build up that self-awareness. And building up that self-awareness means looking into your weak sides and understanding them so that you can better work with them or change them. But just being aware of them, being present, is going to benefit you tremendously. I really hope you liked the video, guys. It really meant a lot to me to do that video. It's something that if I could go back and tell myself, I would have done it. So I really hope you take some benefit out of it. If you did like the video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below what you think, and whether there was a situation where you kept your cool and then you realized you were not right. See you next time.